Welcome to Bemovation. My name is Noluthando, also known as the Advocate of Self-Love. This is where beauty meets motivation. And as usual, I am bringing you another amazing, empowering, and enlightening episode. My guest today is a gentleman. As you know, we hardly have gents, so this is exciting because he is a businessman. He is the Chief Operations Officer for Maximum Africa L.E.O. And I hope I got that right. His name is Bobby. Well, he's commonly known as Bobby. However, he is Daniel Robert Todd. Daniel, Bobby, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate the time, the space. I love the energy of the environment. I like what you're doing. And what an introduction. Yes, I do consider myself a young
and handsome
businessman. Handsome, there we go.
Did I mention handsome at the start?
You're flattering me, but I appreciate it.
Of course.
But thank you so much for the invite.
Most welcome.
Like I'm saying, I've been paying attention to what you've been doing. I love the vibe. I love Bew-movation, as you say. I tend to like mix it up and say Bew motivation or beauty, but I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're approaching motivation with a different light.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're walking in your authentic female energy. I know the chat.
Yes.
And
I like that you're taking over
like,
right
I mean,
now.
Sorry, I'm just saying, like, I really like what you're doing, and I like where you're going. I know it's far.
Yes.
And we aim for greatness all the time.
Course.
So yeah, continue.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much for making the time. I know that you're busy. So the topic for this season is, channeling the inner fire to pursue your success. And I know that you do a lot of work through your organization, Maximum Africa L.E.O, throughout Africa. One of the things that I think we take for granted at times is one, being South African, and also the fact that there's plenty, I would say, like opportunities in our country. Not realizing that there's so much that Africa has to offer. There's so much that our continent has to offer. And with the work that you do, I just want to firstly start with what propels you? What is your why in doing what you do with Africa Maximum? Africa Maximum L.E.O. Maximum Africa L.E.O.
So I like that you asked that. What drives me, and I'm talking about me as an individual before I highlight to the organization, is purpose. And my purpose is aligned with my family.
Yes.
So the reason why I like highlighting that is because family speaks to community and community speaks to country.
Yes.
I always feel like if you're going to impact change, or if you're going to be a leader and you're seeking to impact change, you need to impact your family first. Your family then impacts your community around you. Your community impacts the country, and then. So I think it's like a drop in the ocean. Like when you drop a pebble, into a pond, the ripples react the way they react. So that's how I look at impact as well. And what drives me, again, is my family, to be honest.
Yeah, I get that. And I love the fact that the base of everything you do really boils down to your family.
Indeed.
You are young, right? Look, I don't know how old you are, but I suspect
as long as I look young, that's what matters.
I suspect that you are young.
Yeah.
And so many people, my audience specifically, always say to me, I'm not sure where to get the drive. I'm not sure if I've got the fire. I'm not sure who I'm supposed to be in this world. If we actually just direct it to you personally, where do you think the fire to do all the things that you do actually stems from?
God. If I'm going to be honest, and God can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I'm not going to attach any specific religious belief to it.
Yes.
But for me, God is the energy that wakes you up when your alarm didn't, for example. So it's the thing. It's the driving force that keeps me going and keeps me realizing that there's so much more that's inside me.
Yes.
That is not just meant for me.
Yeah.
It's meant for everyone around me. So I need to keep getting up. I need to keep trying. I need to keep dedicating myself to the vision and the idea that me and our organization have committed to. Because without that, again, if I don't, no one else is going to.
Correct.
So what drives me all the time, and like I'm saying, it has to be personally for me, is God.
And how?
God grounds me. God brings me right back to the center.
Yeah.
It makes me realize, or the force makes me realize that I'm nothing without everyone else around me. So
what I truly appreciate about what you're saying is that I think the perception is that most of the time you know, our male peers don't really look to God, or men aren't really so open about, you know, having a connection with God. And here you are saying that the fire within really comes from God. When did you cultivate that relationship between yourself and God?
Well, it's been it's been a journey, hey. I like that. So we keep alluding around how young I am. So I'm 30 years old, right? But
that's very young.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a young guy, but it's been a long 30 years. So the journey with God, I can tell you, has been a long one. Because there have been times we've been close, there have been times we've been far, but I think it's just the development of any man, and it's why a lot of men don't necessarily speak about their relationship with God, because it's a touch and feel, it's touch and go. So of late, we've been very close, but I also think it's because of the time in my life that I'm in now as well.
Yeah.
When there's a quote that I want to reach to, but it's so far from me now. But
it'll come.
Yeah, it will come.
Yeah.
But basically, when a man is a man, he sets aside childish things. So each time in my life when I've seen like a paradigm shift approach, I've had to be close to God.
Yes.
And obviously, we all fall short every now and then, but my constant seeking of his face is what reminds me why I'm around. It's what reminds me who I am to my family. It's what reminds me why I should be the person I need to be at work, at home, and also like in like my interpersonal relationships across the board.
I get that, and I completely appreciate it. The reason I started with these questions, to be honest, is to really link, you know, business success with God, which so many people are completely just disconnected from. Because we hear, even though we know we may laugh about it at times, we hear things like, oh, if people are successful, they're doing sacrifices. If people are successful, they're doing, you know, there's still that huge disconnect between I guess spirituality, and that is good spirituality, and success. So I like the fact that you've got this base, you've got this foundation that is very prim and proper, focused on God. Congratulations.
I know that, and you know the thing is, and I think it's like you're saying. So many people don't want to face up. I know for a fact that I'm nothing without God. If I want to act and make it seem like there's a plan to put in place, you write things down, and then I understand the structure of how a lot of motivational books work and a lot of texts work, but I know that I'm nothing without him. If I was to tell you how I got here today on your show, I didn't know this was going to happen 3 years ago. You know, we've been friends for a bit, so you didn't know that this was going to happen. So things like this, for example, this is just God. And if you can't like surrender to that and know that, then I don't know what you're doing. But your time will come. You'll find out. Indeed, you will find out.
Okay, so let's take it to the business front, right? Being Chief Operations Officer at your organization, what does that entail? And what does it take to actually you doing what needs to be done?
So on a day-to-day, it entails obviously managing all of the tiny details. So you'd be surprised, from meetings that are not confirmed, from if we're doing content on the day, if we're doing just follow-ups on past conversations. So it's a lot of day-to-day hand stuff, but also it's a big responsibility because you have to know what we're up to all across the board. So if we've got a couple of transactions lined up, which ones they are, what's the streamline, what's the quickest one we're going to go to, what's the lowest hanging fruit, as we like to say in business as well. So a lot of the day-to-day is just like that stuff, but it's also protecting the sanctity of this organization. It's protecting the foundations, protecting what we call the silver lining. So the golden fiber of what we do and who we are is transparency and integrity. And honor. So a lot of business people, or let me say the African market for business right now has been plagued by dishonesty, corruption, and fraud.
Of course.
So to create a space, or to create a group of individuals, a group of like-minded individuals who adhere to honor first before everything else is what we've tried to do. And just protecting that. So when we meet people, when we meet different companies, different entities that want to either go into business with us or on board onto our entity, we have to fully vet you. We have to understand who you are, what you're about. And within that process, people change. So it's my responsibility as the Chief Operations Officer as well to be able to see those shifts. To see if someone is finicky about documentation, to see if someone is finicky about even transparency.
Yes.
We're living in a digital age right now,
Yeah.
so televising stuff is solid. The minute you're shaky in a meeting, if I have a videographer around me who has to like take a picture, you're gonna like raise some flags in my head. So before I choose to dive deeper into who you are, I'm gonna choose to protect my organization. Because why are you so shaky? Why can't you be on camera?
So you are basically now just kind of taking us into your mind as to how you even not only digitally vet or, you know, I guess observe someone, but things like body language as well.
So all of these things, right? They're part and parcel. And I think this is why, to an extent, I could be like a good fit for my actual position, because I use the same skills in every other facet of my life. So I don't like people taking advantage of me just because I'm a nice guy. And then the minute I can see a shift in your energy, I can tell that, okay, cool. Guard up.
Something is
guard up. So because I pay attention to detail and I like paying a lot of attention to detail, I can see all of these little shifts.
I get
so
it.
not to feed too much into my own stuff, but yeah, that's, I hope I answered your question.
You did.
To be honest.
You did. In terms of the overall overview of your organization, I know that you play an extremely significant role, you know, in the landscape, in the African business landscape, where you basically are like a bridge between keen investors and businesses. Can you please just take us through that and just give us the whole overview?
So I'll give you an overview of what Maximum Africa L.E.O is as an organization. As a brief overview of Maximum Africa L.E.O, in essence, we're a collaborative effort of technocrats and private sector individuals. Basically, we came together because we've noticed that Africa as a whole has been doing business backwards.
Okay.
Because we look west, we try to follow models that are Western, but without paying attention to frontier markets. Frontier markets are very serious things. So, for example, a frontier market is a Congo.
Yes.
Or Zimbabwe or Kenya. Each of these places do business very differently.
Differently, correct, yes.
And it's also based on the culture that's looking west. So you'd be surprised, in the Congo, for example, so many things don't work because of the Congo. Just because of how the colonizers took over them, and each and every state is separate, the way it's separate because of the people that colonized.
Right.
So logistics is one of the biggest issues faced in the Congo because of that. So Maximum Africa L.E.O, for example, will step into a gap if there's a transaction, if there's an FDI, or the investor rather, that is keen on doing business in the Congo. So if there's an investor, right, trying to solidify or trying to localize a product in a specific country, there's IP that they need.
Of course,
If they haven't been to the country before, it's a whole feasibility study that need to put together. Right? What we've done as Maximum Africa L.E.O, so it stands for Luxury, Entrepreneurship, and Opportunities.
Okay.
So the luxury aspect of what we do is just basically trying to showcase Africa to the world. The luxury that we consume and the luxury that we actually export as well. And when I say export, I'm talking about just the resorts we have. Yes, we're not sending them there, but Europeans and Americans are coming here. So what we're doing is we're showing you what Africa is like, and African opulence, but at the same time, allowing you to like take it back as well. Because you're gonna go tell your friends, guys, there's this dope resort that I went to, or this really great resort I went to. You guys should go check it out. Or there's this country I went to in Africa that you should check out. So when I say export, I mean the IP of how beautiful it is. It's so pretty here, right? So that's the luxury element of what we do. But within that, we found a niche market. Because in order to consume a certain type of luxury, you need to be able to do a certain type of business or have a certain type of income that's coming in. So it feeds into the business that you do. So the niche market there is, if you can buy a Louis Vuitton bag, it means that you can afford a Louis Vuitton conversation. Which means we could sit down and potentially strike a deal. So we also host these high-end luxury events for the purpose of conducting business. So
I get
it tends to neutralize egos. If you go to a car sports club, the bigger car has the bigger voice.
Of course.
However, if you bring your Lamborghini to my event and I have a Lamborghini as well, we have the same voice. So we could actually sit down and have a serious conversation. And then there's the E part of our entity that's focused solely on the entrepreneurship.
Right.
Within that, because entrepreneurship is a big thing.
Of
the
course.
future is what's going to sustain us when we're older as well. And I really believe in beneficiating and actually investing in the future minds.
Yeah.
So the entrepreneurship element of what we do has two segments. So there's what we call the ExecuMax experience. So with the ExecuMax experience, it's an experiential learning program. We take 100 entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And we train them annually.
And these entrepreneurs are from South Africa or all over Africa?
So EduMax is the one that's 12 months. It's all over Africa. What we do is we seed individuals from their country, right? We give them a full, intense learning program.
Okay.
So we exchange, it's like a skill share. So we teach you how to actually navigate business because a lot of people don't know how to.
Yeah,
and actual skills, like how just being punctual is a skill.
Of course.
Soft skills and hard skills, right? So it's a whole process. We go through it. Then we deploy. Once we're done, we send these entrepreneurs back to their countries so that they can go and impact their communities there and also still be like, how can I say, a satellite office for us.
Yes, that makes sense because you're growing the network.
And like we say, one of our partners likes making this reference to McDonald's. Regardless of where McDonald's is, the quarter pounder always tastes the same.
Of course.
Always.
Yeah.
So if you can teach the next generation that business has to be conducted transparently, you cannot enter into a conversation and have a hidden agenda and hope to succeed after. Lies do not have legs. So we always want honor and honesty and transparency to be the foundation of whatever transaction you're going to get into. Because from there, at least you know you're honest with each other. People are not coming with, like I'm saying, hidden agendas.
Exactly.
So the two programs within our entrepreneurship element. So that is one of them. And then the ExecuMax is more of like a boardroom experience. So basically, we look at entrepreneurs that are like unicorn entrepreneurs that are not in the ideation stage anymore. So businesses that have started that just might not have the right type of capital to actually expand.
And resources.
So what we do is, So what we do is we have a boardroom-like experience, similar to like the Shark Tank. Get to pitch your idea. Then we weigh in on what your idea is. We can help you or we can tell you this is not going to fly, in essence. But I think that is also help. So you'll find a lot of people have great ideas, but they just don't have the right type of funding for the idea. So that's what that looks at, in essence. It's like a Shark Tank.
And I like the fact that it also has its element of going to the grassroots up to a certain degree, because you are literally taking entrepreneurs that are still, either finding their way or still cultivating the core essence of what they actually do. You said that Maximum L.E.O is L.E. Can we get to the O?
I'm about to get to the O, right? So, and I like that you said that because you highlighted something and you mentioned being a bridge initially. So what we found again is trying to penetrate. I'm just going to stay on the E for a little bit longer. Trying to penetrate any market is very difficult, especially if you don't have the information. So a lot of entrepreneurs are pained by that. Even if you want to become a titan in an industry, for example, let's say you wanted to start trading commodities. To start now without the information is very difficult. And yes, we're living in a digital age, so you can find stuff by yourself. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Right? So because we're a group of, like I said, technocrats and private sector individuals that have cultivated this information over time, we serve rather as a bridge between the entrepreneur and the titan. We want to connect great minds without the right type of funding to a matured mind that's weathered the storm, that's been through the experience.
And has lots of funding.
So much funding. That's the thing. Old people have so much money. And not for nothing as well.
Of course,
They've paid their dues.
Price. Blood, sweat, and tears.
You see what I mean? So, and so many of them have just big hearts to invest back. If I was to find someone who's as motivated as me, who is 5 years old right now, I know how to foster them. It's why we want to become parents in life, because all of our experiences downloaded into another mind can create a better tomorrow.
I like the fact that you actually linking the whole part of partnering a suitable investor with an entrepreneur, almost like mother
It's
and
like-
child or parent and child type of relationship. I like that you've made
No,
that
but
connection.
because you have to, and I mean, and it's why again, so many things tie back into being honest and being an honorable individual.
Yeah.
The best type of relationships are between parents and their kids.
All right.
So if you approach business as someone who's always trying to learn, especially from an older individual,
Yes.
you always find people trying to teach you.
Of course. And I hope you caught that. You will always find people trying to teach you if you're coming with the spirit of wanting to learn. So you deal with a lot of entrepreneurs,
Yes.
day in, day out.
Yes.
I mean, from, seasoned entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs that just got into entrepreneurship today. Where do you think, I guess, the lack of longevity comes in? Because I know that entrepreneurship is also about how long you can ride the wave, right? You may have the greatest idea, you may have the greatest innovation, but are you willing to ride the wave? From what you've seen, who you've talked to, what you've experienced across the continent, in South Africa, anywhere in the world, when we bring it back to African entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs at home, where do you think that the disconnect comes in when it comes to that principle of longevity?
I think it boils down to your foundational premise, like what drives you.
Yeah.
So longevity is about how strong you can be, how long you can ride the wave, as you say.
Yeah.
So if you're tied, if what's driving you is bigger than you, it's not about how long you can go, because you can go until you drop.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So God is my thing.
Okay.
God is what drives me.
Yes.
Different entrepreneurs from different places are driven by different things.
True.
And I would like to say to all of them, find your purpose, find your drive and hold it dear.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ground too many people in things that I believe in solely, but I do think God is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because you will keep coming back. You will keep reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
You will keep being the humble person that has a space to pause and learn.
Yes.
Because that's what it is at the end of the day. Being an entrepreneur means that